Not too long ago, we looked at solving equations and didn't talk about it then, but when we find the solution to an equation, we're finding the value for the variable that will make both sides the same. That's why they're called an equation. We want both sides to be equal. Here, we don't want them to be equal. We want 4x minus 3 to be greater than 2x plus 7. And there's a lot of numbers that will accomplish that, an infinite number, in fact. So our solution set here isn't going to be just a number. It's going to be a whole range of numbers. The process of solving is going to be the same. The way we have to express our answer is going to be a little bit different. So here, same thing we would do if this was an equation. We would subtract 2x from both sides to get rid of that over there. We would add 3 to both sides to get rid of the non-x thing over here. And that would leave us with 2x is greater than 10. Divide both sides by 2, we get x is greater than 5. So any number bigger than 5 will make the left-hand side greater than the right-hand side, and that's what we want. We're going to have to express our answer a couple different ways here because someone said so. I'm not sure who, but someone did. So x is greater than 5 on the number line. I'm not going to insist that you index the number line. That's not really necessary for this. The only number I need to see is a 5, but I want you to understand that infinity is on this quote-unquote end of the number line, and negative infinity is on the other end. That's going to help us with the third way of expressing our answer. Obviously, the numbers greater than 5 are on this side. Right? That's where the bigger numbers are, to the right. So our arrow goes that way, and we put a hollow circle at 5 to indicate that that's where our answers start. That's where our solutions to this inequality start, but 5 isn't actually one of them. The hollow circle tells us that. And then there's another way of writing this, which is interval notation, which is the way that real mathematicians would deal with this. We would put a parenthesis to indicate the same thing as the hollow circle. This number isn't actually part of the set, but everything from it up to infinity is. And we always put a parenthesis on infinity. The bracket that we're going to see in the next example would indicate that the number was included, and we never include infinity because it's not actually a number. Okay, let's look at another one that will show us the one thing we have to look out for when we're solving inequalities. I want to get rid of my x's on the right, so I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides, and I'm going to minus 14 from both sides to get rid of the non-x over here. Those will cancel. We'll have negative 13x. It's greater than or equal to. Those will cancel, and we get negative 22 there. Did I do something wrong? We get negative 22. Okay. And then we're going to divide both sides by the number that's in front of the x. And that's negative 13. Okay, and this is the thing you need to look out for. Whenever you divide both sides by a negative, not this negative doesn't matter. This negative, when we divide both sides by a negative number, we need to reverse the sign. So we'll get x over here, we'll get 22 over 13 on that side, but we need to reverse this to be less than or equal to. Another option would have been if here we had decided, we'd seen that we were going to end up with a negative in front of the x, we could have moved our x terms to the right-hand side and our non-x terms to the left-hand side, and you're welcome to do it that way if that's the way you're used to doing it. Okay, so we've got our number 22/3, and our solution is anything smaller than 22/3 or 22/3 itself. We use the solid dot to represent that. And then our interval notation, always from left to right. Right here we went from left to right, 5 to infinity. Here we're going from negative infinity up to 22/13. I wrote that wrong. I wrote 22/3, 22/13. Bracket to show the solid dot or the equal to. Okay, strict inequality, hollow circle, parenthesis, or equal to, solid dot, bracket. Okay, here we end up with one that's a little bit uglier. We start out with one that's a little bit uglier. We want to do what we did before, which is combine like terms to make this a little simpler before we start the solving. 3x plus 2x is 5x. Minus 3 is greater than or equal to. 1 minus 9 is negative 8 minus 7x. Okay, now I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I'm going to add 7x to both sides. So that's going to give me 12x on the left. That'll cancel. That cancel. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. So our solution set is x is greater than or equal to negative 5 over 12. Okay, so there's our inequality. That's form 1 of our answer. Negative 5/12. We get greater than or equal to, so solid dot to the right. And then we would have our interval notation, negative 5/12 with a bracket to show that that is a solution to infinity. Okay, that's solving inequalities.